Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another TV episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who are good soldiers that follow orders with me tonight?
This is CT9907, Jody, Baka Wheel on Twitter.
Howdy. This is Robert. I told myself I wasn't going to do this. This is Robbie Sherman of the Conversations with Robbie Sherman. We got new episodes coming out soon. We just put out one about a couple of weeks ago with No More Late Fees, a really excellent film podcast. Thank you so much for having me, everybody.
And this is Omega Stan Karuseta, Kerry Chandler.
And welcome back, all of you. And we're all here to talk about the show that I had no interest in until Kerry convinced me to watch it. And now I really like it. We're here to talk about Star Wars Bad Batch Season 2. That came out in January of 2023, this year. Just ended a couple months ago.
Otherwise known as the closest thing we're ever going to get to a Republic Commando series.
Man, every time, because like in this season, you see a lot of the clone commandos, and every time I'm like, oh man, like
I'm just waiting for one of them to join with Night Batch.
He's so easy. Just have throw Delta in there. Give me Delta.
Yes.
They had
please.
One of them last season. I think it was Scorch.
Scorch, they have, yeah.
Oh, did they have Scorch on last season? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, just a random guy that was there, but yeah.
They've all been generic commandos this season, I think.
Yeah, they were, which is sad. But hey, at least they're in here. I mean, at least now they're, because of the show, they're more canon.
Yeah.
So the game's not canon. Or the books.
I wish the books were.
Same. I do too. So like this season is... I feel like this season really set itself in the first episode. It kind of tells you like what they're going for, because it's right in the first episode of season 2 where there's a comment about, I think, is that when they're doing that mission, if I'm correct?
Oh,
the mission to go
mission?
steal from Dooku?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the first 2 episodes, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they say something in there that didn't click with me until my rewatch of it today, where I rewatched almost the entire season. But where he makes a comment, or they make a comment where they're like, if we get this, when we get all this, all this money, we can then settle. We can then, have a peaceful life. We can get away. And like, I didn't realize how much that is really the tone of this season. Doesn't work out that way, but that's the tone.
Yep, and that's what's the Republic Commando novels too. That's kind of how they the direction they go in, is that they're just trying to find a way to get out of the war and settle. So makes sense.
It does bring a little bit of internal conflict too, because with Echo really not wanting to settle, instead wanting going after the Empire. You see that come out more and more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah, and I didn't really remember that when it came up, and then like looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, no, he was like from the first episode. Kind of like talking about, I want to fight. I don't want to settle down.
I feel like Echo became his own person this season, and that was really, incredible to watch.
Yeah, because he was the more generic like trooper on the group too. He wasn't even Batch 99 originally, right?
Right. Yep. He was just.
They just rescue him in the last season of Clone Wars.
Yeah,
and then he joins the team. No, I mean, I also like, because again, I know this part is for toys, but they all have new, like their outfits are a little different this season. Like all their armors has a little bit more paint on it and stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, yep, that's just for toys, you assholes.
I didn't even notice that.
Are there a lot of toys for this?
I don't know, but I'm assuming that that's why they did it, so they can make toys.
Oh man, if they didn't make toys for this, I'd just be like shooting the executive who decided that was a bad idea.
Because I
don't know what the ratings are like. But, I guess Disney Plus probably doesn't release that information.
No, they don't. Oh, yeah, no. There are toys. There's a few. I think I'm looking right now, but
some of them are called the Black
guess,
Edition. So I'm wondering if that's from the first season. Because now
some I found right now are definitely second season, but they're pre-order still.
Yeah.
Because Mandalorian's the same way. In each season, they change his armor just a little bit. So one, it stands out as a different season, and two, you can sell new Funko Pops to idiots like me. So and that's kind of how I took it with this. That's what they're like. Okay, we're gonna make them a little different, so that way we can have a new figure, or plus make it stand out and show. Like I feel like a decent amount of time has passed between season 1 and season 2, like maybe a few months to a year. That's how it felt to me.
Well, even Omega looks, especially the first episode, I noticed quite a difference with Omega. She looks more like she's a little older.
Yeah, she does.
And I like that. I like that she's not as, like, I think she kind of annoyed me first season, but she did not annoy me at all this season.
More like trying to fit in with one of them. She's not just the little kid that's in the group that's just following along. She was a bit more of her own, doing her own thing.
Yeah, definitely. Right in the first episode, they show you that, because she's kicking ass, fighting those stupid crab things, and like she helps make a difference for them.
Yeah, that's a season highlight, for an opener that really set a fun tone and was something I didn't expect. And I like that they kind of bring in little things like that to give us very different variables in the action.
But it really makes you care about the Bad Batch in this. Like, I feel like season 1, I didn't care about them as much, but this season I really cared for them as characters. Like, and I actually cared for Crosshair this season, which last season I thought he was the shit. I liked him this season.
He had quite the redemption arc throughout it. Like,
he really did.
Oh man!
Which I remember at the end of our last episode on this, I said, watching season 2, we're gonna see him have a redemption arc.
You did.
And there we go. Yeah,
you were right.
And even like the first episode that he's back, when they're going after, he's with Commander Cody.
That was cool.
Yeah, because he though at first was still pretty much like he just executed the guy or the girl, the
woman,
leader, the governor of that planet, no problem. But just because Cody said something afterwards and Cody ends up deserting, I think that's when he starts to be like, wait a minute.
I think it's really the Outpost episode, which again, like you don't really see him a lot in this show. He's only in a couple episodes, and I think that was a good touch because like the first season is very much of Crosshair and the Empire hunting, the Bad Batch, where this is like, oh, they died, we think, and we don't care. We're busy doing our own thing. Like the Empire is becoming more powerful. There's less clone troopers. Like you really get to see that in this season, and I don't think we never seen that before. Like the Empire really becoming the Empire.
No, they're always pretty much established everything else we've seen. They went from like nowhere to there.
And I love that. I love getting more time to really see like what was going on with Palpatine and how he was manipulating things again. So, and Kerry, there is a figure, the Black Label figure of the Clone Commando, just a Clone Commando itself, not a special.
Oh,
one.
cool.
So,
okay.
there is one if you're interested ever.
I really want to point out the moments where Cody and Crosshair have these little communications between each other that have so much loaded significance in what they're saying. Like the first time he meets Cody and they have like a real terse dialogue about what happened to the Bad Batch, yada yada, and like he calls them traitors, good soldiers follow orders, and Cody gets this look on his face for a second, like, he really has to be careful about what he says. You immediately see it in his face. It's great storytelling.
Yeah.
And I like that they did that with Cody, too, because Cody's one that was, at least in the movies from what we saw before, like, it's Clone Wars, we got to see him so much. And then the movies, he just turned, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So to see him come back and realize, no, I shouldn't have.
Yeah, he's in Revenge of the Sith. He picks up Obi-Wan's lightsaber and hands it to him, and then Obi-Wan rides off, and then he gets Order 66. He's like, blast him. That's it.
But I mean, it's cool that they're doing that they're finding ways to bring in other characters, who were a big thing in the Clone Wars and are minor characters in the movies. Like, I like that. I like the fact that you get to see Cody and he gets his moment where he does realize maybe the Empire isn't so good.
Yeah, we get a lot of cameos this season.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't bother me. It didn't feel overpowering.
Oh, no, it felt good. It was good.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
And actually, like, Cody made that one point, too, just in his... I really appreciate that he's talked about... I think they might have made the point in Clone Wars at some point, too, but how the reason they're better than droids is that they can make up their own minds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is the whole thing the Empire don't like about them.
Here too.
Yeah.
That's also what makes them bad in this case, is that they can make up their mind, and the Empire doesn't like that very much.
No.
Yeah.
Instead, they want to brainwash kids into becoming stormtroopers.
I do really like the fact that we saw how the stormtrooper bill comes into pass. Something simple, something insignificant. When you think about a science fiction movie, but to me, like, it was so cool to have these moments that then tie together to the overall series.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you, at first, I didn't like the idea that they had gotten rid of the fact that all stormtroopers were clones, even though I know originally that wasn't the idea. But then George Lucas, when he was doing the prequels, he sort of set that up, that they were actually clones all along. But I like now the way they've built this and how it changed over. It makes so much more sense than them just keep pumping out clones. And just the way it all works, right?
Yeah, I think it's better this way, for sure.
Yeah. I do too. And it also, I feel like this show is trying to fix a certain movie that Kerry's a big fan of, Rise of Skywalker, where they're planting the seeds of Palpatine has special plans with this cloning thing going on. Yeah, we already wrote the movie and sent it out, a few years ago, and people got really pissed. So now we gotta, put some things in to show. Yeah, Palpatine had plans. Yep.
Yeah,
that's how I took it.
Well, I think they're doing that with both this and Mandalorian. Even they keep pumping all that. I think it's all going to at some point come together in something they're making to finally explain it.
If Palpatine shows up again somewhere else, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to tell you that right now.
They'll be like, J.J. Abrams fucked us on this. We got to write ourselves out of this corner he made for us.
Well, I think I said it on here before, but I like the idea of him coming back like they did in the novels, where he was come back as a Force ghost and going into people. I think they were trying to play on that. So I like the idea. I think as long as they build up enough lore around it to actually explain what happened, I think it works fine. It's just right now there's still too much hanging out in the air.
Oh, they're trying.
Yeah, but I think they can fix it. I don't think it's too far gone yet.
I don't know. But I kind of think they're better off pretending that movie didn't happen, honestly. But
I think they want to. I think they want to pretend.
Really, what I would prefer is just that they move on and do Star Wars like somewhere else with other people, other characters, and we don't have to be with this Skywalker shit anymore. But
yeah, well, I think the next ones are Rey now, aren't they?
They are.
And what I'll say is I do like Rey. I like Daisy Ridley, and I liked Rey as a character. So that's fine. That's
as well as they move on. They said they're done with Skywalker, so
yeah, just be done with that stuff. Like move on from that stuff and do your own stories.
I mean, this kind of shows you can take new characters and kind of do your own thing. I mean, yes, this is a pivotal time, but none of these are like. I mean, my assumption after watching this season is that by the time we get to season 3, my guess is that everybody besides Omega is going to be dead. This is my guess.
What? You think the Bad Batch are all going to die?
Mm-hmm. I do. I think they're going to kill them.
By the end of season 3, you mean?
Yeah. I think by the end of season 3, I think they're all going to be killed and put away.
Oh, I don't.
So, I mean, I could be wrong. I just wanted to call it out here. We still got a year or two before we see it, so we can see if I'm right or wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but that's just my thought.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. I don't even think Tech is dead, but
I don't either, honestly. I'd be surprised if Tech's actually gone. When we found out that the Camino Prime Minister wasn't dead, when we were convinced he was.
Yeah, when they made it clear that he was dead.
Yeah, they bring him back. They can bring back Tech.
I want to say one thing about my man Tech, okay? He shot down like 30, 40 stormtroopers with a broken leg. And
yeah.
The man is practically invincible. I love him to death, and I know he's not dead. If not in the show, then in my heart.
Well,
yeah, I think he survived.
I agree with you, Kerry, because I was thinking he had died, but when I rewatched it today, this is the last episode, but it's fine. We'll jump it around. When he throws down the goggles, he makes a comment like, "This is all that was left." And that's my guess is that because if Star Wars wanted him dead, they would have just shown him in pieces, and even then he might not be dead, like a Darth Maul. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, true enough.
Man got split in half and came back. So
which is sick.
Tech though. Just to talk a little more about Tech, what do you think of the episode of what was it called, Faster? The one where he was racing?
Yeah, that was. It's one of the ones I would skip on a rewatch. Probably if I.
It wasn't necessary, but I liked Tech in it. I think Tech grew a bit as a person. There's a little character development for him.
Yeah, yeah.
I really enjoyed that episode, but it was the way it was structured, all I put in my notes was the pod racing episode.
Yeah, because that's what it is.
Fair. Well, I was upset that it wasn't pod racing. That it was some other kind of racing.
Yeah,
it just had to be something. It had to be different.
Yeah, I do. I even knew it wasn't pod racing, but I was still like, yeah, it's pod racing. It's the same thing, pretty much. They're doing pretty much the same thing.
Kerry, I got a question for you. If you caught this when they're showing the racers, did you notice that they had some Attack of the Clones references there? One of the racers was a battle droid body with a C-3PO head on it. Another racer was a C-3PO body with a battle droid head on it.
Oh, yes.
Really?
I think
it's fun. I cracked up. I'm like,
I pointed that out to my son when we watched it. Yeah, so I watched the first half of this season like a month ago, and then I watched the second half of the season today. So the first half of that season, I'm a little.
Oh, you're all good. I mean, that episode isn't. I mean, I guess the main purpose of that episode with the race is 1 for character growth and 2 to kind of show like that Sid isn't that trustworthy either. Yeah. Sid fucks herself over, and they have to rescue her by racing, with essentially against a gangster, which is very risky, and like she doesn't deserve it. They should just like, okay, bye, Sid, see ya. You go get killed now.
They should have left her.
Yeah, and that guy Malegi tells them, they're like, you can't trust Sid. Trust me, you're not gonna be able to trust Sid.
Yeah.
Watch your backs or whatever. And I was thinking about that because Sid's obviously. I kind of foresaw that Sid was gonna turn on them in this season.
Oh yeah,
That made me sad when it happens.
it did because I actually like Sid, the character. I like what they were doing with her, and I think I think she has a decent heart underneath, or at least they seem to make it that way. So the fact that I was hoping in the end she would turn on side with them. But
I was hoping for that, but
it didn't happen. I will say that episode has the only character in the season I hated.
Teo,
Who'd you hate?
The original pilot of that droid, the droid that was piloting I don't even know what they are, speeder bikes or whatever.
Yeah.
That Tech had to take over for. I honestly hated that guy.
Oh, you hated old Sonic the Hedgehog, Ben Schwartz.
is that who it was? I was trying to
pretty
figure out who
sure,
that voice actor was. Yeah.
I like Sonic the Hedgehog. I did not like that droid.
Yeah, no, the droid was annoying, and then they killed the droid like multiple times in the episode.
Yeah, he kept killing me. Don't want to just let him die. Be done.
That was part of what saved the episode for me too, was that they were so self-aware about how annoying he was as a droid, and they just kept killing him, and it made it funnier to me.
Yeah,
it made this whole shit funnier to me.
I don't know. He annoyed me too, but I was just the fact that I got to see references to Attack of the Clones. It just made me smile so much for some reason. The movie's not even that great. I do like it better than I used to. Go listen to that episode, but. It was just something I appreciate this little throwback that was, that was just for people like me, just Star Wars fans like us. They throw this little tidbit in that the average person, if it's a kid watching this, I mean, they might catch it if they've seen other movies, but it's not something that everybody would have caught. And it just made me so happy.
yeah.
I don't know why.
I wish I could feel that way about Attack of the Clones. The last time I turned it on, I got about 15 minutes in, was just turn it off.
You watch the whole thing, and then whenever Padme and Anakin talk, you play Singing in the Rain, you mute the movie, and you're all good. Just don't read any dialogue they're saying, just put in your own dialogue where he's, being a charming gentleman and not a sickle, not a creep, and hey, it's a better movie.
Yeah.
I can't remember how explicit he gets in that. It must be really disgusting.
It's not. It's just stupid. But yeah,
I just think of it. He's still that little 8-year-old boy they found. That's writing all this. That's writing.
He joined a cult of virgins.
Yep.
Now he's got Natalie Portman wearing a backless dress in front of him.
That's why the movie's worth watching, just for her. Okay.
Yeah. Oof,
I'll give you that, actually.
Oh, and I have a question for you guys. We were talking about earlier the solitary clone episode. That's the one that has Cody in it, where Cody and Crosshair are on a mission. There's no one else. I thought that was interesting how they did an episode
which
about Crosshair,
solitary
essentially.
clone. Yeah.
And during this episode, so finally, it's about a separatist planet. You don't see this woman's face as the governor of the separatist planet till the very end. I swear, when she takes off her mask, I thought it looked like Omega, and that's what I got.
Kinda, yeah.
I can say I'll tell you when I was waiting for her to take off the mask and be somebody we knew from before.
Same.
And it just didn't happen. She did mention somebody.
She is from Clone Wars. She mentioned that she was the one who worked with Padme to try to have an alliance between the Separatists and the Republic, and Palpatine shot it down. And that I vaguely remember that from.
I thought she just said that she worked with the one who did that.
Oh, I thought she said she was the one.
Maybe I'm misremembering. I watched this 2 months ago.
I watched this a couple. That was
she was in Clone Wars, but no, the one that worked with Padme was another one. It was Mina Bonteri. This is Tawny Ames.
She mentioned her, I think.
Yeah, I'm over here on the Wikipedia.
Yeah.
But that was a really good episode too. I really enjoyed the third episode a lot.
Yeah, I thought this was a good one.
Yeah, and you got to see Crosshair be an excellent sniper. And you got to see, more and more about how things go with the clones, and more clones are turning against the Empire. I think that was such a great theme of this whole season, is really to show that the clones are not really working with the Empire that well anymore.
No. And you also had the character of the governor, who is just as much of an ass as every single governor in Star Wars.
Yeah.
I was watching, I watched the end of Mandalorian season 1 today too. And Moff Gideon just killing his own men. And then this guy, yes, you made an agreement to save my life. Okay, now kill her. They're all such just asses.
And she didn't need to die.
No. That's part of what makes it so gut wrenching too. Is that she just doesn't need to die. And then Crosshair takes her life without any remorse. Like, he just immediately says, the good soldiers follow orders. And it was a real highlight of the season for me.
Yeah, it really showed where he is still at that point. He's still just doing anything to try and fit in. He's cold-hearted, and he's trying to fit in with his empire, make himself invaluable, when really they don't give a crap about him at all.
Yeah, that's a big part of his arc, is him kind of realizing that.
Yeah, he gets beat out of him pretty hard later on.
Yeah, he does. He has to be
that is true.
He has to be tortured. And even then, we don't know that he's really completely gotten there.
No, we won't find out until season 3, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Actually, that's the one thing it's jumping a little bit closer to the end. But the fact that the clone commandos all seem to keep working for the Empire gotta make me wonder if Buddy, the scientist, has figured out some way to reinitiate their programming or something. Because it seems like now we haven't seen many commandos, but all of them still work for the Empire as far as we've seen. And
they all mostly work for that one guy.
Yeah,
because they're all in that base.
He's obviously
that's something I noticed by the end of the season. You only see stormtroopers, except for when you see clone troopers, they're working for Hemlock, the scientist who's a clone scientist. So I think, I was just thinking that he sees the value in the clones in a way that the regular Imperials don't. But he may have figured out a way to reprogram them. And he may reprogram Crosshair. He may have already done it, as far as we know.
Yeah, and it's just, it's all a ploy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that
he's going to try to do to Omega.
I think he wants Omega's DNA because I think that she's got the purest version of it because she hasn't been given the aging
something that you can build more clones or something off of.
Right. I think she's the pure sample of the clone DNA.
Same. Even when they capture her near the end, when he's talking to Nala Se, and he's like, Palpatine has a use, and she's like, what Palpatine wants is impossible. And that's to me, I felt that was again a reference to Dark Empire, essentially. Or, the sequel movies that he's actually trying to clone himself already. He's already trying to plan for his death eventually.
Yeah, see, I thought of Dark Empire. I didn't even think of the Rise of Skywalker because I think you're trying to hate that movie so much. But Dark Empire would be a good way to go with it.
Kerry.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they brought back stuff from that, so we got Thrawn in the cartoons. So I think we could see some Heir to the Empire stuff happen.
Well, I think it's coming. I think Heir to the Empire is definitely coming through the Mandalorian Ahsoka stuff. We're going to get it there.
Which is so awesome. I think so that's my favorite novels I've ever read for Star Wars.
The Dark Empire is the one that takes place, I think it's before Heir to the Empire, or I can't remember what takes place immediately after, but Dark Empire is where he fights Palpatine when he comes back to life as a clone.
Yeah.
So, but I just like it that the show did so much with cloning and really kind of talks about, you just have such good episode, and you get there's one you only see Palpatine once in this whole season, and it's perfect. And again, it's Palpatine being Palpatine, playing off, something that I don't think that was his plan, but since things didn't work out, he's like, okay, I'll throw this guy under the bus and call the traitor and behead him and get what I want.
My son was really happy about that because he hated Rampart. He was every time Rampart would be I hate that guy. He's really upset about Rampart.
It's not often a TV show surprises me, but the fact they killed him off so quickly, I thought that he was going to be a bigger villain.
They kind of set him up like he was going to be the villain for the season, and then they just.
But what halfway through? Just nope.
It's in the Clone Conspiracy episode, I think.
Yeah.
No,
that's episode.
It's Truth and Consequence. Yeah, it's the 7th episode.
Yeah.
Or 8th episode.
It's the episode 8, the Truth and Consequences. That's because the show is. The season is broken up in half, and that's the end of. Everything with Admiral Rampart and everything leading up to it, because again, he was the one that destroys Camino in season 1, and then he's trying to blame it on a storm, which I thought was hilarious. Storm ruined these cities. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Despite the fact that planet's in constant storm every time we see it. Now the city's destroyed.
So I don't know. I did like that, and I feel like the whole idea they're going for is they're showing you because this is so long before the Rebel Alliance is anything. I mean, this is so long before, we see in Andor the Rebel Alliance coming, and we see that they're already having issues, that the Empire is, fighting clones and fighting other people who are just fuck you, we're not going to just, do what you want. I like that.
I also want to give the Commander Cody episode bonus points for having tolerable droids.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think the droid humor is just a little bad, and that all felt pitch perfect.
Yeah, they
Well,
didn't.
you don't-
They weren't over the top with it.
No, and I think like really the only episode with battle droids. You don't get them in this season at all, which is makes sense because
Yeah.
It's a blessing.
They're done now.
Yeah, it's a blessing. I'm done with the battle droids being just silly slapstick humor. Honestly.
Wow.
I hate those things.
I love that they had assassin droids in that episode though, and they almost kill Crosshair and Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the assassin droids were like the most awesome of those droids.
But it was just cool to see, like just having this little bit of showing like what's going on with the Separatists. They're like, just leave us alone. Like we got our own, planet. We're not part of your empire. Just leave us be. And I'm like, no, we're not. we're gonna enslave all of you.
Which is so in touch with what empires do. They want to expand.
I really liked there's something in that episode where what's her name says like, Dooku was wrong about a lot of things, but he was right about the Republic, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That it would eventually devolve into an empire.
Well, that he knew because he was, friends with the guy that was doing it.
Well, I don't know that Dooku was in on the plan though.
I don't think he was in on the plan, but he knew who Sidious was.
Yeah, I always think though he thought.
I guess he did.
I know he knew who Sidious was, but I always got the impression he thought Sidious was going to undo it from the other side, so that the Separatist coalition or whatever could at least have their freedom. And then
I think Dooku was a true
Sidious control of
separatist.
what was left, right?
Yeah, that was the impression I got.
Same. I think, Palpatine plays everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's just such a manipulator, and all the extra material that we have gotten besides the films really shows that.
Yeah, I wish we saw more of it in the films.
Same.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish it was more than just, I could save Padme's life. I know the power of the dark side. All right, I'll kill everyone I love for you.
And the children. The younglings.
Except for the one. He left one youngling. We know that now.
Hey, there's a couple that survive.
There's several.
But it kind of, I want to talk about the first two episodes a little bit more, like the stuff with like where they go and try to raid that chest and how everything goes to shit when they're trying to get Dooku's. It's during the second part when they run into someone from that Dooku's planet that's like, Dooku raided everybody. He raided our planet too, guys. Like he's no good.
Yeah. I really like that old man. He's a good presence for this show.
Yeah. Ramar.
The fact that he would talk about Dooku like that, because you always get the impression before, like, Dooku's like the hero of his people, but he wasn't.
No.
He just set himself up to be, to look like
Yeah.
And it was just cool. Like, I mean, the way they do it, and like you see them, and like, I mean, really the main part of the first two episodes is the fact that at the end of it, one of the clones is like, yeah, this was Bad Batch. Like, this is Clone Force 99, and the Admiral's like, you're gonna rewrite that paper. He's like, no, I'm not. So he just shoots him and just throws him off the cliff. It's like, well, you're not around to file a report. You're dead.
Yeah, I think that was where my son started like really hating Rampart.
Yeah. Like,
Was when he killed Wilco.
Well, shooting Kamino is one thing. Like, at least they were enemies. This is like supposed to be your own troop. The Empire just does that so often.
But the clones don't matter. I mean, they're trying to get rid of the clone.
Well, it's like Hemlock says, they're Imperial property.
Yeah.
Very, very fascist.
I got so much Nazi vibes from some of those comments they make.
Hemlock.
It was very he's very like Dr. Mengele kind of thing going on.
Like, there's a scene later on when he's at the summit where he's like, before the summit, he's like, I have a plan. It'll be taken care of. And all I could think of, again, I like my history, World War II history. I just thought of like stuff from like Heinrich Himmler with the Nazis. Like, it just reminded me of that. Where they're like, yeah, we have a plan. Like, yeah, your plan is execution. But that's what it made me think of.
And experimentation on POWs. Like, that was so much done by the Nazis. But now these aren't even prisoners of war. They're their own people, but they're deserters. And they would do that. Right? Like, you deserted, now we can do whatever we want to you. And for the slightest offenses, they're then sending them into this place to be experimented on, right?
I think they're just sending them anyway. Like, they're just trying to get rid of them. And I love how much the show makes you care for the clones a lot more than you ever did before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it makes you think about, like, what do they do after the war ends? Like, what did they do after episode 3 before we get to episode 4? Like, what happened to them? And this show is like the first time we're seeing that. And I really like that. Yeah.
Well, we did actually get a little bit of a preview in the Obi-Wan TV series.
With the beggar.
Where we had the one that was there begging, and he looked elderly, and it makes sense because they have advanced aging.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
Obi-Wan's 10 years after Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they can't go that far because, like, you see Rex in Rebels for sure, and he's aged a lot by that.
And that's only like what? Well, that's around the same time as Obi-Wan.
Around the
right?
same
That's
time as
like,
Obi-Wan, isn't
Yeah,
it?
because Rebels leads
Yeah.
right into, or very close to, when New Hope happens.
Oh, okay.
I think
Oh,
it's
really?
pretty close.
They're
It's
that
been a
close?
while.
Well, say because Rogue One, because A New Hope is 16 years after Revenge of the Sith. So
Oh, I thought it was 20.
is Luke supposed to be 20 years old?
I thought so.
Thought he was only
I
supposed to
don't
be
know.
like 16, 17.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see what Google says. I can't remember.
Of course, that could have been changed.
19
Yeah.
years old.
19.
He's-
Okay, so 19 years.
19, really? I always figured he was supposed to be.
He's a very
16,
whiny
maybe
19-year-old, okay?
maybe 18.
He won his power converter from Tashi Station.
No wonder he's so whiny. He's being stuck at home at 19. Thought he was supposed to be like 16, and then it makes a little more sense why he's so.
Oh, yeah.
Everything
19.
wrong.
Rebels is pretty. I think Rebels might end a year before, or maybe I can't. It's been a little while. I mean, again, Rebels puts away almost all its characters essentially.
Well, we know
So-
Rebels is at least like 10 years after Bad Batch.
Yeah.
If not more than that, because we have Child Hera in Bad Batch season 1, and then she's the pilot in Rebels, and she's going to be in the Ahsoka series. So I guess I've got to watch Rebels before Ahsoka. Now.
Didn't some of their characters pop up? I haven't seen the latest season of Mandalorian,
Yes,
but I
they
heard some popped up in there.
a bunch of them.
Yeah.
They're
guess
getting ready. They're
check
setting that up for what's coming.
I got
I'm
I
okay
gotta
with
watch Rebels before August.
You need to watch Rebels anyway.
Yeah, I need to watch Rebels too. It turned me off. The Playmobil like art style really threw me off at first, but Bad Batch is the same in that. I love
You know
that.
who the villain is in Rebels season 3 and 4?
Is Thrawn?
Yes.
I heard that, and Thrawn
Yeah, I mean that was
Great
big
character.
news because
in the Timothy Zahn novels, was it?
Yes. So just, I mean, that's all. I mean, just the fact that you knowing that, like, go into Rebels, like, you'll get through that first season, get through the dumb villains, and then you'll be fine.
Isn't Maul in there too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maul's conclusion is in Rebels also.
Because I'd like to see the conclusion. Because I gotta admit that was one of the better sections of Clone Wars for me. It surprised me. I didn't think I was going to like it, and I did.
No, it's really good.
That fight scene between him and Ahsoka is like I watched a breakdown of how they did that. It was really cool. They had Ray Park and I can't remember her name, but a female stunt woman, actually in motion capture doing that fight, and then they
Oh wow!
then they animated on top of the motion capture.
Oh, that's pretty
So
cool.
it's Corridor Crew on YouTube did a breakdown of
Rotoscoped it.
Yeah.
Hey, when you're ready to watch Rebels, just let me know. I'll rewatch it with you, Kerry. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna start it probably tomorrow. Like after now that because my son and I have been watching Bad Batch together, so I'll just be like, let's watch Rebels. So and then Clone Wars because I only kind of halfway watched Clone Wars. So
And for one of the episodes that I didn't care for as much that I watched, I think I watched it yesterday, maybe it was today, Entombed. That's the one where they find. Okay, no, never mind. I want to take it.
When they found the giant.
I did not
It's
like
okay.
Entombed at all.
Was that the one where they went artifact finding and
Yeah, where they
Yes,
essentially
where they went
think
artifact.
I think Indiana Jones.
Is the Indiana
Yeah.
Jones episode? I could do without the filler episodes. We don't need the filler episodes.
No, but I guess they want it to be longer. I mean, all I could think of when they get to the end of that and they climb up that, or they activate that mech, that it looked like the tall necks from Horizon.
Yes, that's what I told
Yes, it
myself.
did.
I was like, look, it's like from Horizon. It's the Tallnecks. That's exactly what it was.
That's all I saw. It was just.
very much.
I think they were just. I don't get why they're trying to make that pirate such a big character. Because they had her in the first episode, then she came back for Entombed,
We're talking about
and then
Fee?
yeah,
Yeah,
and then she was
so
in Pablo.
I have issues with
Because they go
her.
there.
Who?
You go, Kerry.
Well, I was going to say it's Wanda Sykes, and her voice is just not meant for Star Wars. I like Wanda Sykes like as a person, like in real life. I think she's like a good person, and I like her stand up, and I like some of her acting as well. But she is always very, very much Wanda Sykes. And so it's like Wanda Sykes is in Star Wars. It's more jarring than Space Boston in The Mandalorian.
I want
But I
to
like Space Boston in The Mandalorian.
I want to counter that. I actually really like Wanda Sykes in this, and I think it's some of the best acting I've ever seen out of her because her tone is so committed, like to being serious, and like they never like crank up her personality in the way some of her more intense comedy can be, and I think she fits in really well. That's just me. Okay. I mean, I think she's doing a good job of acting. I just can't not hear Wanda Sykes
It's too
Yeah, I
distinctive of a
can't not
voice.
picture her instead of picturing the character they're showing me.
Yeah, she does do it. No, I agree. She's doing a very good job. It's just, I guess, it takes me out of it.
Yeah, and
I think that's just because she's so well known, and
Yeah.
I've known her.
I don't know
everything
who
else.
she is.
You
Wanda
don't
Sykes?
know who Wanda's.
Not offhand, not without Googling, no.
She's like a really, really famous comedian and actress.
Million sitcoms she's been
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, she's
Been in a
always
bunch of
the,
movies.
except for
Yeah.
when she had her own sitcom, she's always just the friend, the sassy friend.
Oh yeah. She has nailed the sassy friend role down for the past 20, 30 years or so.
Which honestly is still the same basic character she's playing here, just in a Star Wars twist. She's still the sassy friend that always got a little quip to say.
Yeah, I felt so too. I mean, I did like her. I liked her a little bit more in Pablo, but
She does
Or
add
Pablo.
a little bit to the story in ways that I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting this big, island that they go to, and then they end up wanting to actually lead a life on, and that was interesting to see. Even though I do feel like that comes borderline to filler almost.
Yeah,
it does.
disagree.
It's to set up the idea that they have that there is actually a place they could settle down.
Yeah, that's how I took it. Because again,
and that's fine.
it's them trying to figure out what they're going to do now that they're not at war anymore.
Yeah.
And I felt like the whole reason of having her in those couple episodes was to lead up for the fact that Pabu, and that's why it didn't bother me either, because it had a purpose to why we had this character.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I can see it.
Because I really
also
like
was
the fact that
somebody
they're
that can-
trying to they're like, okay, we need to settle down. We need to go give Omega, a better life than what we're doing. And, I think that was really good to see, because the Bad Batch doesn't really want to go, fight the Empire that much. They kind of want to they're doing it, but they're at the same point, we could just settle. We could just leave it alone, where Echo and Rex are we got to go, we're going to fuck up we're going to, save our brothers. Very much.
This you know what? I think you just said why though, because they never really felt like brothers with the rest of them. The Bad Batch were their own little.
No, and they're not
separate group.
Right.
You
Right.
see it with Crosshair in the episode he's in, where he goes to sit down for lunch and they won't sit with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not one of them.
And I love Crosshair always having his black uniform on throughout this season. It
Yeah.
perfectly illustrates what an outsider he is.
Yeah, I like it. I like that.
Definitely.
Same.
So
I like how it's also a little different too from last season. Sell those new
Yeah.
toys.
he's got his new thing. I was wondering. I was like, did he go? Because did he go and he got a helmet? He's like, all right, I'm going to take I'm going to requisition some spray paint. I'm going to spray this. Take this thing to a paint booth.
Yeah, he got out of the closet. The closet where they put those things in.
But you figure he got to the base and they're like, here's your clone trooper armor, and he's like, yeah, I gotta fix this. Takes it to a paint booth and paints it back.
No, but it was just, I also noticed, I feel like this was intentional, that each time he sits down to eat, the Admiral would call him. The Admiral had to be aware this is feeding time.
Yeah.
He had to be aware, okay, they're eating meals. I'm going to go, because I feel like it was there to show the disrespect he had for him, because he makes a comment, he's like, you were out there for how many rotations? 34. And he's like, oh, why'd you come back? Why don't you just stay, leave us? We don't want you anymore.
Yeah.
Well, plus he's a liability, because he knows what happened. But, he's still very much, into the Empire, so.
Yeah, I think he's just into following orders. That's his whole thing. Is he wants to have a place, and the Empire gives him a place for now.
I also think I like how dark it gets with him later on. Some of the stuff they end up doing to him is so intense, and we don't really see it full on. It's not like a Cronenberg shot or anything with a lot of blood, but it's still really hammers home how mature the tone is for this season. I respect it.
And now I finally know what happened to Leia in that cell when the little probe droid goes in there.
Yeah.
After all these years, I've been curious. I'm like, I wonder. And I'm like, oh, now I know what that thing does.
Yeah.
Yep.
Brains.
One episode we haven't talked about yet that I have to mention is episode 6, Tribe.
Yeah.
We get our first Wookiee Jedi.
Genji. Yeah.
I forgot about this episode until you mentioned it.
It's not. It's forgettable.
It's extremely forgettable, but I like a Wookiee Jedi.
I did too, and I like the fact that you see other droids that had started their own little syndicate that were dealing with trading slavery and just doing smuggling, doing whatever they needed to. It's just a bunch of droids.
But I did. I pointed out to my son in this watch he's got a lightsaber. He will never once use it against a person. And he doesn't. Not once. Not once, because this is for tiny babies.
Because kids.
He does not ever swing that lightsaber at a person.
If he was smart, he never would have pulled out that damn lightsaber. That caused him so much trouble.
Yeah. Well, he was already captured when he pulled it out.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like later when they're on Kashyyyk and they fight the tanks, it's like he uses the lightsaber and they go, "Oh, hey, look, there's lightsaber, damage.
Yeah,
there must be a Jedi." It's like you can't use your lightsaber.
Genji's the same one from the Clone Wars, right? The one from that one episode where they had the younglings going getting their kyber crystal.
I completely forgot what you were talking about till just as you said it. You got the cogs running. I'm like, I don't know, but I forgot about that episode. You might be right. You probably are right.
Yeah,
I'm wondering.
I guess so.
Yeah, he is. I just looked on Wikipedia.
I don't believe Wikipedia. Awesome. I only listen to the Drudge Report, good sir.
I only listen to the Droid Report.
Forgot about that, but again, that's cool. More cameos from a show, and we'll probably never see that Wookiee again in our life, and that's fine. I don't need to see Gung-Ji again.
Yeah, we don't need to see him again.
No, we don't.
You didn't need to see him this time, honestly. But it's fine.
If anybody from Disney is listening, I don't need to see him again. I know you're probably not, but if you are, I don't need to see him again.
No, it was cool to see, I gotta say, but don't go overboard with the Jedi.
And that was the only Jedi we had the entire season, which was great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I've been getting so worn down with Jedi crap. Like, Star Wars Visions is very cool, but it's the same Jedi story back to back to back almost. It's so frustrating on that.
Second season's the same way again?
I haven't even seen any of the second season. Don't ruin it for me.
That's what I've heard the first. I haven't watched
Visions is the anime one?
Yeah.
The first season is the anime.
I liked it. I liked some of it.
The second one, they let everybody else in.
I like the one that was basically kind of like Berserk meets like Samurai Champloo.
Sure.
That episode. That was a good one.
I need to watch
the rest of it. The rest of it
one
was,
of that,
was kind of forgettable.
I'm going to get to it later this year for recording reasons. So it's my plan. We'll see. Because I'm in a Star Wars mood. Okay. I definitely want to watch Visions, but I'm happy that we didn't get a lot of Jedi. I'm happy that we just get this one little thing. And again, the purpose of the episode felt more to show, Omega growing, because Omega's like, we can't let this happen. And then, they at first weren't going to get involved. Like, okay, like, we don't really want to let slavery happen. So, it's cool to see.
Yeah. What are we, the Jedi?
And then we kind of touched on it, but I want to go back to it. Episode 7 and 8, The Clone Conspiracy and Truth and Consequences. I feel like this was such a cool two-part where, like, we get away from a couple filler and we get into, like, what we want to see again.
Yeah.
And I really like all this stuff. Like, I love everything with the fact that, like, you have this senator who wants to have clones have a pension. Like, what are we going to do with them now that we're phasing them out of the military? Because
it says it's because they can't cope with the accelerated aging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. Like, you need to have a plan, and the Empire's like, just fuck them. Like, who cares? Just throw them away. Like, they serve their job. We're done.
Yeah. Just let them beg on the street.
What did you think was going to happen? It's like
Palpatine didn't care.
Yeah, they were a tool, and that tool is no longer useful. So
yeah,
but you see that the Senate still has power in it. Like, it isn't like where we get to like A New Hope, where the Empire's been around for 19 years, and the Senate doesn't he just dissolve the Senate?
He dissolves the Senate at the beginning of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just because they had the Death Star, so then he had another way to keep control.
Yeah. Now
he's manipulating the Senate anyway.
Steps out of line, he can blow up a planet, and so now they'll follow him.
I think these two episodes are really impressive because they do what a lot of Star Wars does badly, which is make politics riveting. Like a lot of other Star Wars media, especially prequel stuff,
That's Lucas can't write.
Yeah. The prequels do a bad job of it, like this and like Andor, the stuff with Mon Mothma.
Yeah, I mean, this shows as long as you just take
good politics.
George Lucas and put him away somewhere where he can't be involved in writing politics, it turns out okay in Star Wars.
Politics and love stories. That man can write AT-AT scenes all he likes.
Yeah, keep him away from stuff like that. But no, it's just so good, and you get to see that senator, I forgot her name, Senator Chuchi, which is from Clone Wars.
Yep.
And I love the fact that she's like, I'm trying to speak for the clones, and Admiral Rampart's like, yeah, sure, we'll do exactly what you want. And Rampart is being manipulated by the blue guy who works as Palpatine. I love that, too, that this guy is, Palpatine is still involved in everything, even though he's trying to stay hidden.
Yeah.
They even make a comment. They're like, "Where's Palpatine?" They're like, "He's busy."
Yeah, shows up right at the last second.
Yep.
Because he's making use of a situation. Like, I mean, I think his plan was to have Rampart do that, but when Rampart failed, or it's also possible, kind of what they think is the clones think that he set them up to do that, so that way Rampart would fail and then he could take over and use that to pass the bill.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he did that or if he's just ready for each contingency. He's hoping it'll go one way, but either way, he's set. Because that's what I think he did with the Clone Wars. So.
Oh, that is what he did with the Clone Wars.
Yeah, but he's just perfect, like at not just manipulating people, but he plans for everything.
And it was cool. You got to see Rex. You got to see them, infiltrate a ship on Coruscant. You get to see them on Coruscant. I mean, I thought all that was good. You see a clone assassin, essentially, that had his brain wiped. And then you get to see them twice. You see it in the show where they bite down on the electric thing and kill themselves.
Yeah, which is dark. I was like, this show's like it's like the Gunji episode. This show's for babies, and then this episode is killing himself, clearly on camera, killing himself. Yeah,
I can't even imagine what that would feel like.
It's electrocuting yourself, basically.
Yeah,
I love the smell of Star Wars characters killing themselves in the morning.
Yeah.
But it's not something we see. I don't think we've ever seen that in Star Wars otherwise. Like, have we ever seen Imperials have
kill themselves?
Yeah, have a death bite thing?
Definitely not.
Okay.
No, pretty sure this is the first time.
Yeah.
It's cool. I mean,
yeah. It really livened up the
sci-fi version
of people can
of
kill
the cyanide
themselves.
tablet.
Yeah, it's the cyanide, the fake tube, the cyanide capsule in it, that we've seen in Bond movies and stuff.
Was that a real thing in World War II?
Oh yeah.
They used to give them to intelligence agents. I know that.
Yeah.
I don't know
I've heard
but
that,
during the Cold War.
During the Cold War, yeah.
Okay.
That's at least in media. That's the case. I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it I like the science fiction version of it a lot. I like the fact they bite down, they let you get it like instantly just dead.
I know Solid Snake one. Wait, no, I'm sorry.
It's probably less pain, I would say, than actual cyanide tablets, because I hear that's actually quite painful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cyanide's not a nice way to die.
Yeah, but depending on where you are when you're captured, whatever's going to happen to you ain't going to be nice.
That's true too.
But
that might be the better alternative in this case.
This brings up what we were talking. I didn't get this the first time watching because I didn't see the episodes close enough together. But we were talking about that Hemlock. We think maybe he's figured out a way to program the clones. This assassin that does this is a clone, and Rex is like, no, he's not. He's not a clone. Or is he? Yeah. When they take the,
he said he's a clone, but he's not he couldn't identify him. Everything was wiped.
Yeah, he said, Chuchi asks why a clone trooper would do such a thing. Rex replies, he's not a clone trooper. And then they take him back, and the guy, he's like, just, tell us what we want to know, and we'll let you go. And he's like, no, you won't. I'm a true believer.
Yeah.
So
it was cool.
I think that Hemlock maybe is making new clones.
Yeah, making these guys.
That
might be exactly what is going on. I never caught that together.
I didn't think about that either. I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah, I think that
Hemlock is
going on.
Definitely up to cloning. Like you can tell that. Like they give you enough breadcrumbs for that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I mean we see people in vats at the final episode. So
yeah,
and that sort of joins the two halves of the season together a little more. At least what's going on overarching.
Yeah,
Hemlock's got his own little Venture Brothers compound.
Yeah, he does.
Well, we saw that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
We saw it sort of like in that. What do they call it? Council at the end, the summit.
Yeah,
because it's all the big leaders, right? Of that, we have Grand Moff Tarkin as the head of it, but then Hemlock, Doctor, Critic, the guy that built the Death Star, is there to talk about Operation Stardust.
I love that when that happened.
Yeah,
yep.
He's played by John Lovitz, isn't he?
Who?
I don't know.
Critic.
Yeah, it's a joke that don't worry about it.
The joke flew right over everyone's head.
His name sounds like the Critic when you say
the Critic. That's the John Lovitz show. Yeah, no, not him.
But no, it was cool. Like I smiled when I saw when he mentions Project Stardust. I'm like, yes, here's a Rogue One reference. Like here's more showing what's coming.
Oh, I mean, yeah, we have Saw Gerrera in this season also.
That was cool.
Where was he? I'm trying to remember now because I know
he's in the
very end.
Next to last, the summit, the next to last episode.
Okay,
the same one that has Critic in it.
Because he was trying to kill them, wasn't he? Blow it up?
Yeah, he was going to blow up.
That's right. Okay.
that really made me think of World War II also. Like some of the stuff they did with the Nazis, like it made me think of that. Like Operation Valkyrie. That's what it made me think of for some reason.
Yeah, well,
Sure.
honestly, like we think of how bad the Nazis are, and honestly, yes, they were. They were horrible people. But some of the things done on the other side were just as bad too. Not
Some
the
bad stuff, yeah.
the Holocaust stuff. But then again, they had the concentration camps on this side too. Even here in Canada, we had
I'm
the
not
Japanese
too
and
hard
internment
on
camps.
people. Humanity is all around fuck.
Yeah, we sort of are.
But like, just this show does such a good job of showing you more how bad the Empire is too,
It does.
in a different way.
Oh yeah.
And it shows like, and I love the fact that getting the beginning of the Empire, like getting more seasons of this, and like the summit was so cool, like showing them, in this base up on top of some mountain where you can only get there by cable car, and then they just run into Saw Gerrera that's just there too, and they're like,
It
that
just
was
happened
cool.
to be there also. Yeah.
I like that they had him there. He's like, oh hey guys, I see you joined.
So I'm currently playing through Jedi Fallen Order, and how many times are we just going to run into Saw Gerrera? Because that happens in there too.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's in it a good deal. I'm in Jedi Survivor and they talk about you're on a mission for Saw Gerrera at the beginning of that game.
Okay.
Too, so Saw Gerrera,
It
he's
keeps
all
popping
over
up
it.
a lot.
But it makes sense. It makes sense that he's in different things because he's one of he's someone that's fighting the Empire. And I don't think
he's leading like
many.
the main other faction fighting the Empire.
But
Besides
they're the
rebellion.
biggest rebel group up until Rogue One,
right?
when it changes over to Leia's group, basically
Yeah,
becoming the big one.
yeah, and that was he's in Andor also.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I haven't watched Andor yet, but I did know that.
You should listen to our.
Andor.
Oh yeah,
Good stuff.
I'd like the fact. I mean, I don't have a problem with Saw Gerrera popping up.
oh yeah, I like it.
It's okay.
Oh no, I think it's
I
good.
like it though. I like it a lot, but I can't imagine the amount of years and trauma that could turn this cartoon character into Forrest Whitaker. He just does not look like even
watch
a very
Rebels.
young Forrest Whitaker.
Watch Rebels.
No, I mean I know, but still, he just does not look even remotely like a young Forrest Whitaker.
No,
It's just
but
not-
Rebels.
it was not
he
good
starts to
art.
change a lot.
Hey, people that go through some things.
Well, I mean, they're at war. I mean, he's at war with them right from the beginning, as you see in the first episode. Your early bad.
No, I mean, we know he's gonna lose his feet. He's gonna get his breathing problem. We know.
He's slowly becoming Darth Vader.
Yeah,
Number 2.
I think that's exactly what they were going for in Rogue One.
That's
He
what
was
it looked
supposed
like.
to be more horrid in Rogue One, but then I think Disney got involved and changed it.
Tony
Ah.
Bennett. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was going to be more robotic. Like even in the trailer, he looks
Well,
worse.
he
than,
definitely had a bigger role. You can see that in Rogue One because you can see where they chopped up the footage and stuff. Because he obviously was going to have a much bigger role in that movie in the original.
That explains why. Okay, I always found Rogue One had a little. It was jumpy. I never knew.
Oh
that
yeah,
they
no,
did
it
that.
was written by the guys that did Lego Movie.
Oh.
Oh no, that's Solo.
Okay,
But,
I was gonna say, like, wait.
Oh.
no.
Okay.
But Rogue One was being done by someone else, and they fired the director in the middle of the filming and just like redid it with Ron Howard as the director. No, is that
No,
Solo also?
that's Solo.
That's Solo.
Yeah,
That's
but they
Solo.
did that. They did it to Rogue One too, just not with Ron Howard. Point is, it's all chopped and screwed.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I like
Yeah,
Rogue
because they
One.
just like they
My
have like the
favorite-
mind sucking animal that does the stuff to the pilot, and then it's just like, oh, that just didn't happen, basically.
Rogue One is my favorite of the Disney live action Star Wars movies for sure.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
my
definitely.
fourth favorite Star Wars movie. Yeah, hands down.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. I definitely like. Yeah, it's right after the original trilogy for me.
My
But it's got
sixth
flaws.
for me.
It's farther back for me because it's unhappy ending.
Yeah, I don't like unhappy endings either.
I don't
But I
know.
do-
It's
but the
on.
second time I
Princess
watched it,
Leia's
it's better.
smiling at the end of it.
But like the summit, I think is just a really good episode to kind of like show you like the whole idea they're trying to track this doctor down, and the only way to, because again they're trying to figure out what's going on with the clones, and you get a little bit of it here and there. Like in one episode of Metamorphosis, episode 11, you kind of see it where you have Rex and Echo who then go like are trying to rescue clones that are being transported in some ship, and it leads to kind of. I think it's the same episode, right? Is that Metamorphosis? You have that where it starts off with that, or is that a different episode that I combined?
Metamorphosis is where they're checking out what's going on this ship, and this is the one with Scorch in it, by the way.
Okay.
Scorch is
This
Scorch
really
is in it.
reminded me
I'm looking at
of
Wikipedia. Yeah.
Republic Commando. Because like in Republic Commando, the second of the main missions, from what I remember, is you're on some ship. I mean, it was droids.
That's the second. Yeah, the second main mission, basically.
Yeah. Because if I remember right, the first one is Geonosis, then it's a ship, and then it's Kashyyyk.
Kashyyyk, yeah. I'm on the ship right now in my current playthrough.
Okay, and that's what it made me think of, like, because but then you end up having a Zillo Beast, which again is a throwback to Clone Wars. But there's a 2-part episode in season 2 with a Zillo Beast.
I did not expect that to be a Zillo Beast when we first saw it.
Yeah.
No, because they're cloning it. They're trying to make their own versions of something.
A baby at first.
Yeah, but that was really cool. When that became a Zillo Beast, I was like so happy.
Same. I didn't realize it was from Clone Wars until he makes a comment, and I went and looked it up today.
Yeah, same.
That's one of my favorite Clone Wars episodes, so I remember that one.
That's a good one.
It's like Godzilla meets Clone Wars.
Uh-huh. It's just cool how they do that, and I just also love the fact when you have that part, whatever episode it is, when Rex and Echo go and raid the ship. Like I really like that. I thought that was really good when they're trying to rescue the clones, and that's when you see the guy that shocks himself, the commander. Just some really good episodes. The 2 that I wasn't a fan of that I want to talk about quick is the Crossing and Retrieval. That's the one where they go to the mine. The last time they work for Sid, essentially.
See, I like the Crossing. Retrieval, not so much.
Yeah, it gets a little...
the kids, the Goonies.
Yes, okay. I didn't like them very much.
Yeah, I hated that.
Wasn't there like creatures and that's not the one that had the creatures in the mines that came out, was it? The flying things?
I think that's season 1.
Okay, I'm mixing that.
Yeah, that's season 1.
Yeah, season 1 was the hive.
I was thinking this was better than it is because I was conflating those episodes. Yeah, okay.
Because in this one, they go to the mine, they're getting the volatile liquid, and then their ship gets stolen, and then they're trying to find safety somewhere. And then it's the second episode when they're with a kid and they go get their ship back
because he steals the ship. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's a bunch of other kids.
Yeah, well, see, what I liked about this episode was the whole thing with Tech and Omega, and Tech not understand, like Omega being upset that Tech doesn't seem to care that Echo's gone, and Tech's like, well, Echo wasn't always part of our group anyway, so
yeah.
And like again, it's changed. A lot of things are happening in her life, and these are the few things that were cemented, and all of a sudden now they're changing too.
Yeah,
and especially as a kid, you don't handle like family is a very big thing. Family breaking up, which is basically what it feels like to her.
She's losing a parent figure.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't die. He just left. And
he's gone. Even especially, kids don't always understand why. Like he's leaving to do something better, but she don't get that. She just knows he's gone.
Yeah, and and also that he wants to make a change, and the Bad Batch doesn't really want to get involved with stopping the Empire at all, and they're not that interested at it at first. They're really just trying to settle down.
And I think that's something she would be she would be interested in because you could see every chance she gets to try and help people, she wants to more than any of the rest of them even. Because they're concerned about, especially Hunter's concerned about her, Wrecker does whatever, and Tech is just like, well, we worry about ourselves.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. I don't know, it's just like everything with Mako, like this whole guy that runs a mine, he's a fat guy, and you're like, oh, we got no food and no money, and you just see him picking out behind the doors, like...
That felt really Dixonian to me, to the point where I was like laughing about it almost. Like every time you'd see him like just pigging out and he's just sloshing food everywhere.
Yeah. What's his name? Finnegan?
The first time I didn't get it, and then the second time I was like, oh, okay, this is like Great Expectations or something.
He's just really hungry.
Wasn't there a Dickens novel with a guy named Finnegan that ran a bunch of children pickpockets or something?
Yeah, like I think that's David Copperfield. I think that's what that one's called.
So that's exactly what this made me think of the entire time.
That's fair. And it's just so stupid. The guy's like, can I have some water, please? And he's like, yeah, sure. And he just drinks a whole bunch of it. I was waiting for him to spit it out on the ground before he hands it to the kid. I was like, this is stupid.
Just Dixonian children having a hard life. Things are unfair.
It's a hard knock life for us. We get no food at all. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I like this episode better than any version of Annie I've ever seen in my entire goddamn life, let me tell you.
Well, that's because it had droids, it had a guy get dropped into lava. Annie doesn't have people dropping in lava, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I would love to.
Annie could be improved that way.
Yeah. I was happy that he got that he did get dropped in lava. I thought that was a good ending.
Yeah.
It was just I don't know. It's just everything with that I just didn't like. I mean, I know part of it was the show that Sid kind of betrayed them, essentially.
Yeah, she doesn't betray them so much as she just is like, well, I can't help. Sorry. I'll come in a few days, but we don't have enough rations. All right, bye.
She said like 30 days or something, or 14 days or something.
She had enough time, but she just didn't, because they were expendable to her.
Yeah, she's like, oh well, there they go. Oh well, and yeah, I like that. I also liked that Gunky got to have a little bit of a role in this one.
Yeah, because he's how they track it. I thought that was cool.
I've always been a fan of Gonk droids, and I like Gonky especially. My son's a big fan of Gonky.
Yeah, Gonks don't get enough screen time, honestly.
Yeah, and now we know that they're called battery droids, or they're power droids.
Yes, Gonk is just a nickname.
Yes. You know, we knew it was a nickname, but now we know the actual name. They're power droid.
They were going to spin him off into a movie, but Disney decided against it. I think they were going to call it Gonkies Can't Jump.
Boo. It was cool he got his moment, though, that the droid served a purpose. I forgot about that droid because I just never paid attention.
I love we were talking about in season 1, you see Wrecker just is like bench pressing him in the back periodically.
Yeah,
he's like just
he uses a piece of exercise equipment.
Yeah.
In Lego Star Wars, one of the early ones, I used to play with my nephew. I always used to play the Gonk droid, and all you could do is jump around, couldn't attack anybody.
Yeah, well, you could barely jump, right? It was just like a little tiny like half hop. Yeah.
If you could get, there was a super Gonk that could had a super jump. It was unlockable, and I used to do that and just follow him around.
Yeah, my son and I used to play the Lego Star Wars.
Good stuff.
Yeah, they're good. They're actually a lot of fun.
I really like them too.
Yeah, they are fun.
I need to play Skywalker Saga someday.
I like them better before they have voice acting, though. But
they have voice acting now?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and the newer ones do.
The last
starting with like Lord of the Rings, I think.
I don't remember Lord of the Rings.
Maybe not Lord of the Rings.
The first Lord of the Rings doesn't have it, because that one I have.
I think it's with The Hobbit, maybe.
The Hobbit.
Yeah, the new ones have voice acting.
Oh, that kind of takes a little bit. I haven't played since Lego Lord of the Rings, the last one I ever played.
And I haven't played the Skywalker Saga. Maybe that's the new one. Maybe it doesn't. That got really good reviews. So.
Yeah, it did. It looks really cool, and I know there's also Bad Bat, a character pack for the Skywalker Saga too.
Really?
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
you can play as them too. It's DLC.
Yeah.
Oh, one of the episodes that we haven't talked about yet that I want to bring up is episode 12, The Outpost.
That was my favorite episode of the season.
I didn't like it at first, but when because I completely forgot. Like when I was watching this show, I finished it the first time. When Crosshair is in prison, I'm like, what? Why is he in prison? Like, what did he do? I completely forgot this episode for some reason.
Fucking fragged an officer is what he did. Oh, man.
I find it funny, too, because that officer ends up being the death of the clone, who actually is technically that officer's commanding officer. He was outranked by him.
Yeah, he's like, it's Commander, Lieutenant. I love it.
But then, but he's a clone, so he don't matter.
Yeah.
When you kill the actual officer, now you're in prison.
But it starts off really well, too. Like, it's like you have him when he meets Crosshair, and he's like, you're out of uniform, because the guy didn't have his helmet on. Like, this little thing where you can see how much of a piece of shit this guy is.
Every minute of this episode is filled. Like, the very first thing that happens, Crosshair's kind of, like, hanging out, and a group of clone troopers walk by without their, armor and stuff, and they're like, but we don't want to retire. And the person's like, take it up with Imperial, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're being retired, just deal with it. And it's like, so we're getting to see what's happening to the clones also. They're, like, being put into forced retirement. And then, I like that the guy is like, the lieutenant guy is like, more clones. And he's like, problem, sir? And he's like, I just don't like used equipment.
That's such a shitty comment,
I just don't like used equipment. Ooh.
And of course, then they get guarding is the unused equipment that's better than what they have.
Right. I love and they get when they get to the place, and the one thing that's like really silly about this episode, I don't know if y'all noticed it, is anyone figure out what I'm going to say is incredibly silly about this episode, specifically about Commander Mayday. He's wearing like rags like wrapped around his armor, like to stay warm on the outside of the armor. It's just really, it's like, it's clearly what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like, oh, we're in like a snowy area, so we're gonna put some rags around him, like you'd wrap around yourself to stay warm, but it's all around his armor. Because
I
at
didn't
first I was
catch
like,
that.
is he not wearing armor?
No.
Is that what, but nope, it is. He just has like furs or something like wrapped around his armor.
You know what? I did catch that, but it never occurred to me that wouldn't work until you're saying it now.
Same.
Yeah.
I mean, it's supposed to show, I guess, also too how much they won't give them new equipment. And also, is
Yeah.
a rotation 1 day or is it longer?
Oh, well, that's what my son was asking because he says it's been 36 rotations since they got they're supposed since the supply ship was supposed to arrive, and I said, well, it's a day on that planet, I assume, unless it's a galactic standard day as set by like the day on Coruscant or something. But yeah, I think it's just supposed to be a day whenever they say it in the show. I don't think the show really thinks about it very hard.
Okay, I was just curious because to me it was kind of like, you know, it was kind of cool to see how the Empire is really neglecting them. Like their equipment that they have didn't matter enough.
Well, the craziest thing is the crates that they're supposed to be protecting that they have to go retrieve are just filled with stormtrooper armor.
Yep. Brand new equipment that they could have used.
Yeah.
I was just confused. Like, why is there just random stormtrooper equipment just on this planet? But I guess that's relevant to what. But yeah, that's what I was.
I guess I took it supposed to be like this was just like a supply depot where they're just storing it here.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
I think that's what they said it was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I guess I just wasn't enough.
Maybe it's halfway between wherever they're building it and wherever they're training the stormtroopers or something. But it's
They just refer to it as a depot.
Yeah.
Why would they need one? I don't know.
No.
Whatever.
they need one for the plot.
The reason they need one for the plot. They need one because on Earth we have depots. We have supply depots on Earth.
Yeah.
So they would have, but it doesn't actually make sense to have these like supply depots on planets when you have hyperdrives. But it's fine.
The supply depot you think would be on the planet where you built the armor.
Yeah.
Rather than ship it, you build it, ship it to another planet, store it, and then
ship it to this
somewhere
like
else
snowy.
again.
Well, I guess the idea also is that they were kind of like keeping it hidden at the time because the Stormtrooper initiative hadn't all happened yet.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Oh, that's
how I was
that would make
taking it
sense.
because
That
the
actually
paperwork
makes a lot of
hadn't been
sense.
signed. You also have the fact that that they haven't told the clones like, yeah, we're getting rid of all of you. Like they're keeping it kind of hush hush at first, and they're just building this armor.
And this is
Yeah,
definitely
that
a
makes
remote
sense.
planet.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
But man, when Mayday, like, because everything leading up to this with Crosshair's like, yeah, when they find the dead guy, he's like, dead weight, we don't need them. And like, where Mayday makes a comment like, I hope let me not die in your watch,
Yeah.
because you'll leave me. And like, they bond as it progresses, especially when they get the canister and they find the fact that there's armor in these boxes that they couldn't wear, and they could have used new armor.
Yeah,
like it was just touching.
It is. I like the attention to detail, like when Crosshair steps on the mine, and the way like Mayday, like he sits there and like has little like tent stakes that he like hammers in onto it to hold down the mine, the pressure plate and all that. Just look like little things. I thought that was really neat. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't catch that. I was wondering what he was doing.
Yeah.
yeah. He's like, we
It's
gotta
something
make
they
do
use
with
in
what you-
real mines to help people. And he's
Okay.
right too. Like even if you do it correctly, sometimes they still go off. So he was not wrong to like go and hide around a corner.
I really got a kick
Yeah.
out of that. He's like, you don't trust your own work. He's like, I'm just being safe.
Yeah,
And he had no reason to care about Crosshair because Crosshair is coming off as an asshole. It isn't until the moment when they realize how much the Empire doesn't care about them that, Crosshair then drags them all the way back from wherever they are. And the lieutenant's like, fuck him. He's dead. Just let him die and you get back to work. Why you're useful, he said.
The
yeah.
whole scene of Crosshair dragging him back was so harrowing. And
Uh-huh.
I think it really is a testament to how much better the show has gotten since Clone Wars at telling these types of dramatic stories.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Because again, when they started Clone Wars, they didn't know what they were doing. They were just making a fun kids show. It isn't until later on when they start putting more depth into it. And more meaning.
And with that, I think that's where, like you said, you can feel for Crosshair now. And this is definitely like when he does that, he's a changed person from that point on. Now, whether there's something else going on now that he's been experimented on and everything, but he definitely seems like enough like a changed person that you actually care about this guy now.
Right.
And you want to see him
Yeah,
join back
especially
up to the badge.
he shoots that lieutenant in the back.
Oh,
Yeah,
exactly.
That was great. Oh no, he calls his name first.
Yeah.
Yep, he
Yeah.
calls him, get some turnout just as he goes.
So he shoot him face to face. Yeah, and I love it because it does it. He keeps like looking up and seeing the vultures circling them, and that's like
It's
like
cool.
a thing throughout the episode. He keeps seeing the vultures circling, and when he sees them at the beginning of the episode, the vultures are circling really far away, and at the end there, the vultures circling real tight right above him, and it's just like he realizes he's like, oh, I'm meaningless to these people. I'm just dead weight. Yeah, it's really good episode. It's very good for developing his character arc.
it has me really hopeful to see what's going to happen in season 3 with Crosshair, because I hated him in season 1 like you're supposed to. In this season, like, okay, like he's here, but like this made me like, okay, now I'm excited to see where this goes, and also the show has been announced, and we get one more season and it's done.
Yeah. Which I'm glad.
I think that's for the
to-
best.
Yeah.
3 seasons is enough of this. Like,
Yeah, this kind of show, if they kept extending it, it's just gonna lose any meaning.
Yeah, you'd have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Which too many shows do that.
That's kind of the problem with it. And that's kind of the thing with an intercure, which makes it so good, is like you can only go so far.
Yeah.
Why don't we move on to the final 2 episodes of the series since
we talked about the second to last one, Summit. We haven't talked about Plan 99 yet.
Yeah, well, we also skipped Tipping Point, which is part of
you're right.
Tipping Point is basically the sequel to the episode we just watched. We get to see what's going on with Crosshair again.
Oh yeah, you're right. We did skip this one. This is the one that Echo and them are attacking that ship that I couldn't remember which one it was.
Oh yes.
Okay.
This is the one with the torture droid too, isn't it?
Yeah, where you finally get to see what they do.
What they do. That's it. Yeah.
They come with a little syringe and just like plug him in the neck and just start doing whatever the hell it's doing to him. But
I wonder if Hemlock is the one.
They're giving him ketamine. That's what they're doing. It's a cool thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a cool thing.
I like what
party drug.
I like the fact of what he does. That Crosshair, when he gets out and he calls them and tells them like, hey, this plan, that they're coming for you. And I think that was part of the Doctor's plan, was to do that, so that way they would go at they would be alert of him or realize what he's or I think it was all part of the plan. Is how I took it.
It actually surprised me that he would, because even at that point, I still didn't think he'd go more than them.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of like they're trying to show his growth.
Yeah.
Well, the Empire's screwing him over too now.
It is.
Exactly.
I mean, he did what they wanted. He followed orders. He killed who they told him to kill. And it all means nothing. No matter what, you are being replaced long before, while you can still fight. Like, you are still a great fighter, and you're just being replaced just because you're no longer worthy to them.
When I first saw it, I did think that he was just going to straight up kill his way out of there.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, I could see that. In the first season, he did say like how he thought if he kept doing what was right, that he'd have this place in the Empire. And it's this point, he's just like, yeah, that was not happening.
Yeah.
There's no place in the Empire for any of them.
Nope.
It never will be, because the Empire doesn't want them to have a place. And that's, I think it's really cool that you get to see that happen so much. That you see the Empire, showing its true colors.
But no, I thought Tipping Point was another, like, the one we just talked about, the last, that remote outpost or whatever it's called. And then Tipping Point, and then, of course, the last 2 episodes. I think those, 4 episodes make a really good, almost a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tipping Point, we get Echo back in this one. That's a lot of fun. And then we get to see Crosshair being tortured, but he manages to break out. I also noticed one thing. The Bad Batch, they only used stun against civilians and clone troopers, but they shoot stormtroopers with regular blasters. Yep. They just kill stormtroopers, no problem. And it's everybody. It's Echo, it's Commander Cody. They shoot stormtroopers with regular blasters.
Which I find funny that you won't shoot clones. I get for them because it's clones, but it's funny that they won't show on the show either showing clones, but they'll show shooting stormtroopers, no problem.
Yeah, but it makes sense. It makes sense. The Bad Batch, they understand that the clones are just slaves.
Yeah,
they're slave soldiers. But the stormtroopers, they joined. They volunteered.
Yeah, they're there by choice.
They're there by choice.
They willingly volunteered.
Yeah,
I forget what
to commit genocide.
They're justified for wearing the badge they chose in life. So
it's season 1 of Bad Batch. There's a part where they're sitting in when they're first the stormtroopers are first recruited, and they're like, "Hey, I give 3 meals a day. I'm taken care of. Like, this is way better than what it was before."
Yeah.
I get a hard cot to like.
So
3 meals in a cot.
So yeah, there's stuff like that.
That's what it is. 3 out in the cot.
Isn't that what they used to call that old program on USA where they showed bad movies, 3 meals in a cot?
I don't know.
I thought it was. I remember there being dinner and a movie being one of those things. One of those things where they trying to cook something.
That was TBS.
Oh, TBS. Okay, my bad.
I remember that. So
I do not remember.
It might have not been a thing in Canada.
Maybe not. I don't
on your
remember.
island.
Oh, you're up in Canada.
He's on an island too.
Yeah, I'm on
Wow.
Newfoundland. Yeah, isolated up here.
I find it funny how I found two different people on this podcast and both from Newfoundland.
Yep.
It's not a big island either. I looked it up.
No, we're not. 500,000 people.
All right. And then, it's just a good tipping point is good. You're right, though. Summit, that's really good. Plan 99 is also a really good episode.
I had a hard time. Once I started watching Tipping Point, I just watched them. I couldn't turn it off.
I mean, I started with the Metamorphosis and just watched it as a straight 6 episodes. But the last 4 especially. And yeah, Plan 99 is great.
And it set up the next season so much.
Because this is the episode starts off with them all dying, or not dying, but Tech dying, them escaping the place, and then having essentially them come after.
Yeah, Omega kills several people, by the way. Also,
it was beautiful.
Omega in in Pabu, actually, in the beginning of that one, she kills 3 people in the bar, but she kills several clone troopers in Plan 99. With her incredibly impractical weapon.
Yep.
I like that bow and arrow a lot.
No, it looks cool, but it's stupid. It's so stupid.
The fact that she can shoot so quickly.
Yeah.
She can almost keep up with blaster rifles with a bow and arrow.
It's a blaster rifle that depends on your upper body strength, and they give it to the child.
Yep. Honestly, they should give it a Wrecker. He could probably shoot the thing with one finger.
I know, that's right, exactly.
It's been a few months, okay? She can shoot the bow just fine now.
Oh, I'm fine with her being good with it. It's good.
Well, I'm fine with
it's good.
It just is impractical if you actually look at the logistics of actually using a bow in this kind of situation.
But it's Star Wars.
It is, and it does look awesome. I'll admit that.
Agreed on that. Agreed.
It does. It looks cool. It's like that bow that Jennifer Garner has in Blade Trinity.
Man, that bow is so damn cool. That movie's cool, okay? I don't care what anybody says. That movie's cool. Go listen to my episode.
It's as hot as the sun.
I also didn't realize that they dropped episode 15 and 16, the Summit and Plan 99, the same day.
Yeah.
They did.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the
really.
Yeah, I mean, the way that this episode is,
been a 1 hour episode. Yeah.
That would have worked like that. Having Tech fall, again, I agree with you. What we brought up earlier, that I think Tech is probably going to show up again. And then you have Sid betray them to the Empire when they go back, to kind of, to get treated for their wounds and recuperate from what happened. And she's like, oh, yep, you guys brought too much heat. So I'm sorry. I called the Empire on you.
Yeah, it brought too much heat, but you still get given a full briefcase full of credits?
Yeah.
Because I don't think it was the bounty. I think if the bounty got big enough and she decided, well, I can make more money just to sell them. They're not working for me anymore anyway.
Yep.
That's true.
Sid's, I never realized this until today when I was just reading. Sid's a Trandoshan.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either until reading about it.
Yeah, female Trandoshan.
She does not look like one at all.
No, there's a Trandoshan in Clone Wars that looks like her. They're the only two that look like that.
Are they the only 2 female Trandoshans we've ever seen?
The other one's a guy. The one in Clone Wars is a guy. And he has that similar look. It's weird because no other Trandoshans look like it.
Imagine being a Trandoshan and you don't even get to look like a cool alligator monster. They look like the Gorn from Star Trek.
They do. The one in
Gorn.
Clone Wars has more of a snout like a crocodile, but he's short and squat like her. But you know what? There was in the Republic Commando game, there was the short, squat Trandoshans, and there was the tall.
Oh, okay.
So I'm wondering if that's what they modeled her on, that idea.
I bet it is, because they obviously modeled
know
the
that
show
game.
off of that game, or the books, one or the other, or both.
I mean, you have Trandoshans working with the Empire when that early episode with Gungi, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of brings it back, because in Republic Commando, you fight Trandoshans in that 3rd level, so.
Yeah, there's a couple of other little minor details in this episode that I liked, or in these 2 episodes that I liked. I liked one thing I've always thought is that the V-wing starfighters, they look like kind of the transition toward TIE fighters, because they have the 2, they're like
the
wings like that. Yeah, and they use the sound, the TIE fighter sound, whenever they're flying down, whenever Tech dies, they're shooting. And it's the sound of TIE fighters from the original trilogy going. The sound they do as they fire.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That's cool.
I was like, because I'd always watching Revenge of the Sith a couple of weeks ago with my son. I was like, don't those look kind of like TIE fighters? Like if a TIE fighter and an A-wing were mixed, or a TIE fighter and an X-wing maybe were mixed together.
Yeah, because the Jedi Starfighter is the one that was the A-wing.
Yeah, the Jedi Starfighter looks like an A-wing. Yeah.
Yeah, which is so weird because A-wings suck and Jedi Starfighters are awesome.
Yeah.
That just happens.
Yep. A-wings canonically suck. That's true.
Yep.
They sucked in Rogue Squadron when I played that game. That was a really weak little ship.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was gonna say, they suck in X-Wing versus TIE Fighter.
I
Never
remember
played
using them in that game, and I loved it when I was a kid, even though I could never complete a level with them.
Yeah, I've always liked the B-Wing. I just like the shape, the design of the B-Wing a lot.
The B-Wing's cool.
Yeah, the ship in Jedi Outcast and Jedi Survivor looks like
Looks like a giant B-Wing.
A giant B-Wing, exactly.
Yeah. The Mantis. I like the Mantis a lot.
The Mantis. There you go, the Mantis. Yeah.
I need to replay Fallen Order for this show. Probably next year.
I'm almost done, but I'm stuck at a stupid Jedi fight.
Fallen Order is so good, and it has, I think, one of the best stories in Star Wars. I love it, and I'm enjoying the new game. Survivor's good. I had to put it on pause so I can beat Red Dead Redemption before Tears of the Kingdom comes out, but I'll get back to it.
Yeah, all the Star Wars stuff. I've been in such a mood for Star Wars lately.
Yeah,
and like I think some of this stuff in the episode I want to mention, like you have them fighting the Empire because they get captured and they break free, but Omega gets captured in the end.
Yeah, I like the ATSTs. And
cool.
I saw the ATSTs, I was like, Tech should steal one of those ATSTs, or Echo should steal one of those ATSTs, and then he dies.
Yeah,
I was like, it's like when Chewbacca and the I was like, I saw with my son. I was like, it's like when Chewbacca and the Ewoks steal that one. That's one of my favorite things. And my son goes, that's my favorite thing that happens in Star Wars. They steal that.
Hey, I can say when you see it in theaters, it still looks awesome. By the way, I've seen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
I wish I could have seen that.
I've actually seen the original trilogy in theaters, actually, when they put them back in theaters in the late 90s.
Yeah, I missed A New Hope, but I saw the other two same time.
I can get the next best saying because my buddy told me about this saying called Star Wars Grindhouse, which has completely unedited original, like 70, 80, 82, 83 cuts of the original trilogy.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, it's just like the pure film masters that they send out to theaters, and it sounds like
you watch it in a theater. You're talking about?
Yeah. You know, like it's like that original cut from original.
Yeah, because I would say I have the what do you call it? The Laserdisc cuts, which are close to that. They're like the closest to that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, the Laserdisc cuts. They're on the gold box DVDs as bonus discs.
Very cool.
So that's the way to watch it. It's like the highest definition Star Wars that hasn't been fucked with.
Damn right.
I only have the special edition VHS and no way to play them.
But at least you have.
Oh, the
gold box with the three.
Oh, the gold box
Mm-hmm.
VHS. Yeah,
I had that too.
Yeah, so the gold box. So the special edition DVDs have the Laserdisc cut on them as a bonus disc in each box. So I went back and bought those like last year for like spent like $45 or $60 on the trilogy. So not bad at all.
No, it's also the only way you're going to get those because Lucas made sure, I feel like, in his deal when he told the Disney that those will never, like, he doesn't want the originals to see the light of day ever again.
Nope.
So.
Yep.
Even the special editions you can't find anymore, except for getting the old ones.
Han will shoot second forever.
And then the last episode ends with them kidnapping Omega. She gets taken to the place with the clones. You have Echo escape with Hunter and Wrecker, and I guess they're going to go after her to try to find her. I'm assuming what is leading up to.
And we got the big reveal.
Yeah. The
Dr. Carr is Echo. It's like
Omega.
Omega. God, I always want to call Omega Echo. Yeah.
She's a sister, so she's a clone.
Yeah, that's what
she's
Wiki
a clone.
said.
But I think she's like the same strain as Omega, but like with the aging.
Yeah.
And it's the same voice actress. Like I caught that right away when she first showed up. I was like, oh, that's Omega's voice actress when she first showed up. And I was like, there's a few episodes where when it happened, I was like, yeah, they just want to make sure that Michelle Ong has, is getting paid for every episode. So they have her, this episode that Omega's not in, they have her do the voice. But that's not, but then we get the reveal, like, no, that's why it's the same voice actress. It's because it's a clone. Yeah, I like that a lot.
That kind of blew me away a bit. I'm really curious to see where that's going to go.
Yeah, me too. I have no clue. I'll be honest with you. When
I really think that Hemlock wants clone troopers that don't age.
Oh.
That don't age real fast. That's what I think Hemlock wants. I almost think that Hemlock maybe even plans to try to create his own clone army and be able to separate or something. But I don't know about that. But I think Hemlock, he wants clones that don't age. And because he disagrees with the whole stormtrooper idea. He thinks that you could make better clone troopers. And so I think he needs Omega because Lama Say has not given away the secret to how Omega was made.
I agree. I definitely think that's exactly what he's doing. I think he doesn't think stormtroopers are going to work. I don't know about whether he wants to accelerate their aging or not. I'm not sure. Maybe if he wants a way to. You could always figure out a way to quickly age them and slow it down. Something like that.
Something like that.
So that he can keep them operational longer. But I do think he thinks clones are the way to go, not.
Yeah. I think that's clear because he surrounds himself with clones. He has clone troopers serving him. He has clone trooper assassins that follow his orders, to the point they'll commit suicide.
His head doctor is a clone trooper.
His head doctor is a clone, right?
I really hope he does have the hubris to build up his own clone army and try to take on the Emperor. That would be so intense, and that would
Vader
give a lot of good dramatic stuff. For the next season.
Vader shows up at the end of the next season and just beheads him.
Yeah,
or maybe
force chokes him. Yeah,
maybe he'll show up in something we haven't seen yet. Even after this.
Yeah, he could. So the thing is, Scorch was in this season, right?
Yeah,
and
I think it was last season.
No, it's in this
Apparently
one.
he's in this season.
He's in Metamorphosis.
Okay, never mind.
He's in. Yeah, I was reading it on Wikipedia. He's the one that leads the clone troopers that capture the creature.
Oh, that's cool.
That's Scorch. And so the thing is, in the books that are no longer canon, Scorch, Sev, and not Niner.
The other one, the tech guy. What's his name?
Yeah, the three of them. Slicer. They end up joining. Either Niner, whichever one marries the Jedi, goes off and dies. Niner. Yeah.
Niner, I think.
Niner goes off to join his Jedi wife, and he and the Jedi wife are both killed during Order 66. And then the other three, Niner's not dead. Sorry, Niner's at the end of Order 66, the book. Niner's on his, he's in a coma, and so the rest of Delta Squad decide to abandon their plan because they were going to go live on this planet with Mandalorian farmers and be retired. And instead they decide, no, we're going to stay. And so then the fifth book, instead of being called Republic Commando, is called Imperial Commando 501st Legion. And in that one, they join the 501. They join Vader's personal stormtrooper group. And that's where, in the Legends, that's where Scorch was at. Last we saw him in Legends, is he's part of Vader's stormtrooper legion.
Is there anything that's currently canon that has Vader keep clones in his 501st? Or
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that might all be Legends now. I'm not sure if in the Darth Vader comic that's.
I read the comic, but it was 3 years ago when I read Darth Vader: Dark Lord of the Sith, which is a really good, by the way, really good run. That takes place immediately after episode 3.
So he would still have him then because it's immediate.
Yeah. I mean, it goes for a while. It kind of shows you a lot of his change, and it shows you the Emperor is already trying to kill him, essentially. Yeah. He's already pitting him against other people to see, who will win. That'll become his right-hand man. He's constantly doing that.
Yeah. I really wish that, God, every time we talk about this, I always lament that George Lucas fucked over Karen Traviss so she won't write Star Wars books anymore because she was so good.
Because he's an asshole. So.
Well, he just wanted to make his Dawson's Creek Boba Fett show on Showtime. That didn't
work out.
Yeah,
he didn't want to wait for his life to get older.
But yeah, so he put the kibosh on her almost completely written Boba Fett biography, and so she's like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna go write Halo books instead." So.
I mean, that's got to be so shitty to write a book, and they're like, "Yeah, you're not getting published, and it's just over with." That's shitty.
Yeah. But yeah, she wrote 5 really fucking good. Well, no, she wrote more than 5 because she wrote those. She also wrote 3 of the Legacy of the Force books that are really good about Jason Solo becoming Darth Caedus and all that.
Oh, that one. She did that one.
So that's that series about is a 9-book series with 3 authors. It's got her, Aaron Alston, and I can't remember the other guy's name. It's a guy, but starts with a C. But yeah, it's Aaron Alston who wrote the second half of the Rogue Squadron novels.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so they trade off. So she wrote the third, 6th, and 9th books, and she just it's clear what she wants to write about, because the other 6 books in that series are very focused on Jedi stuff, and then hers are just like, all right, so here's what Boba Fett's up to in 40 years after the Battle of Yavin, and so old man Boba Fett, he's like 70 and he's still kicking ass. But yeah, anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's about that's where it ended. That's Plan 99 ended.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see where it goes. Very, very concerned in a good way. Like I really I just want my last season. And now, damn it, like Kerry, because of you, when season 3 drops, I'll be watching it like right off the bat each week. Damn it. So
yeah, I'm really excited to see where this goes.
Same. You got me on board now. Like I didn't care about the show, and now I'm like, God damn it! Now I'm just fully invested to want to watch every episode as it airs.
This is the best Star Wars series currently airing for me right now. And I think other shows I watch could take a lesson or two from the compact storytelling throughout all these episodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably the best one that's still airing. Based on what I've heard of, I really like Mandalorian, but I've heard the 3rd season's not as good.
Oh,
season 3. No, the first episode of season 3 is trash, and then the rest of the season is very good.
Okay, well then.
Yeah, it's very good. I think it's better than the 2nd season.
Me and my wife are rewatching the first 2 seasons to get into it. So
I really like season 3 of Mandalorian. I can't remember what the first episode was.
The first episode is just like, so anyway, Mando and Baby Yoda are about together. Hope you watched that terrible Boba Fett show. All
okay,
right.
yeah.
And then it's just like adventures. It's very bad. But then it gets really good after that.
Okay.
Yeah, it gets really good, especially if you're a Katie Sackhoff fan. She's got a really big role. Bo-Katan,
I'm a big fan of her here and in Battlestar Galactica. She was the best part of Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, she had like this terrible Netflix sci-fi show that she's good in it though. It's like a trippy color and space kind of sci-fi show on Netflix.
Oh, that sounds up my alley. Thank you.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called, but it was she's in that and it's good. I mean, no, the show is terrible, but she's good. No, I misspoke. She's good at it.
Any last things to say about season 2 of Bad Batch before we go on to Shelf Stacker Box? I'm assuming we don't have, but I would like to ask.
So I think it's good.
Okay, let's go to Shelf Stacker Box. And Jody, what about you?
I got to shelf it. Yeah, it's excellent. And I'm really looking forward to the 3rd season. And if it's as good as this is probably one of my top ones to go back and watch too, because they're nice and compact enough you can just rewatch this in like a couple weeks.
And what about you, Rob?
Shelf immediately, like that'd be something I'd be like putting right on the shelf as soon as I got done with it. I think it's that satisfying. I really think the rest of the Star Wars series needs to look at the lessons the Bad Batch has and how it tells its story and how it creates good character dynamics to propel a story forward. Yeah, shelf by far.
Okay, and what about you, Kerry?
Yeah, shelf for sure. I'm gonna watch it again whenever season 3 comes. So
hell yeah.
Okay. All right, and I'll go last. And I almost could put this on the shelf. I had a really good time watching this, especially my second time watching it, where I watched, I want to say at least half or over half of the series in one day and enjoyed it like completely. I was just engrossed in it, like while I was editing. It was perfect. So yeah, definitely go on the shelf. And I'm really excited now for season 3. Like way more excited than I want to be, because I'm assuming we're not getting season 3 for a while. So.
Oh yeah.
Because it took a year and a half for this show to come out.
And we have a Writers Guild strike that needs to be supported.
Oh yeah, that's happening.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Or else we'll have AI writing our Star Wars for us.
Yeah.
Oh, no, please don't.
We already got rid of George Lucas. We don't need AI coming into this. Let me tell you.
If AI comes in, we'll be wishing to have George Lucas back.
Yeah, exactly. The Katie Sackhoff show is called Another Life, by the way.
Oh.
Oh, I did see that. I didn't know she was in that. I didn't watch it.
She's the main character. She's the captain.
Okay.
It's like astronauts from Earth go to find the origins of a mysterious artifact, and it does some mind trip stuff.
Okay.
It's
went
cool.
2 seasons.
Yeah. She's got her like first mate is a hologram that just is a regular, just a dude. Doesn't look.
Is he
like
a doctor by any chance? A holographic doctor?
I don't think he's the holographic doctor. No, he's a holographic first mate.
Does he start to question that he's alive?
Is it played by Robert?
I know you know where we're going with this. So
Yes. I know where you're going with it.
You're trying to ignore what I'm going, I think. But Oh, my least favorite Star Trek show right there, Voyager.
Oh, I love Voyager.
Really?
I
You have
need to
Give me
rewatch
Voyager over.
there.
Give me Voyager over Enterprise. I mean, shit.
Yeah,
What?
good God.
No, I like
Blasphemy.
Enterprise. I would say
wow.
Voyager's over Deep Space Nine, though.
Oh,
Oh God.
Get out of here.
Enterprise. Yeah, Deep Space Nine is my
Sir.
favorite.
No, sir.
I'm not a fan.
I'll take all of those over the original series. Bam, mic drop.
I'll agree
the
with you
original
there.
series is terrible. So
I love watching it, but it is terrible.
it's good for 60s. And when you're in any time like past the 70s, the 80s, no, there's better stuff. Once Next Generation existed, you don't ever need to watch the original series ever again.
I love the original series, but even I have to say that there's about a full season of generally good episodes, and then the rest is like camp trash you have to love.
There's a few good ones.
And there's only like 30 episodes to begin with, isn't there?
No,
No,
there's
there's
way more
like
than that.
60 or so, I think.
It's enough to get into syndication.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's only 4 seasons.
Yeah, the fifth season never happened. That was supposed to.
It's only
No, that
been
was
3 seasons.
Star Trek the animated series.
Yeah, that
Yes.
technically is 4th and 5
Okay,
seasons.
Which
By the way,
I've heard good
which
things
I
about
can't sit through. I tried.
it's terrible. I tried it once.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, me too.
Well,
Yeah.
about half of those are actually okay.
I'll never try again. I went to my face.
Well,
have
you're
to
going
see
to
them.
try. I'm going to be hosting an episode over it. All right.
And Jody, where can
All right.
people find you at?
Main place to find me is on Twitter at Bakuiel, Bakuiel.
And Kerry, where can people find you at?
Hey, I'm Karuseta on Twitch and YouTube, KEROOSETA. I modify and repair video game consoles occasionally, but way more often I just throw it on whenever I'm on my PS5, whatever I happen to be playing. Probably Jedi Survivor for the most part.
Okay. And Rob.
You can mainly find me on Twitter. I also mess around on Discord a bit. You can look me up at Convos with Rob, a little W for the with.
All right. And if you enjoyed this episode, you can hear Bad Batch Season 1. Just search it on Podbean. We have all our episodes on Podbean. There's over 450 other episodes. We've done a bunch of Star Wars. We've done the prequel trilogy. We've done the original trilogy. We're going to do the sequel trilogy at some point later this year. So there's lots of Star Wars stuff to go listen to. Tons of great episodes. So definitely go look at all that. And I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Helena at Hell Has Free. You can follow her on TikTok. And if you want to support the show, we do a Patreon. For a little dollar, you can vote in our Patreon poll. You'll see a link in the show notes. We do have a Discord, too. You can join our Discord and chat with us on there. And also want to give a shout out to my buddy Bill Tucker, who did the MCU movies with me. He started his own podcast, A Gamer Looks at 40s. Definitely go check him out. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube. And I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
So yeah.
Take her easy.